The Last Heist. Marco leaned against the bar, the dim lights casting shadows on his weathered face as he scanned the poker room for his final score. The underground club buzzed with opulence, from the velvet drapes to the gleaming crystal chandeliers that dripped with luxury. Clara, seated at the main table, shuffled her cards with practiced ease, her gaze sharp beneath her glamorous exterior. Across the room, Marco's new recruits gathered, each holding secrets behind their hardened eyes and distrustful glances. Rico, the getaway driver, tapped his fingers on his coat pocket, rehearsing escape routes in his mind. Benny, a hulking enforcer, kept his eyes trained on Marco, ready for the violence he knew was only a heartbeat away. Leo, the tech whiz, adjusted his headset, listening for Marco's signal and keeping track of the club's security cameras. Marco's heart beat faster as he considered the wealth on display in the room, knowing this could be his last chance at real fortune. His gaze drifted to Clara, sensing her poise and calculating nature, wondering what secrets she harbored beneath that poker face. With a single nod, Marco signaled his team, and they each moved into position, blending seamlessly with the club's patrons. Clara noticed the newcomers, her instincts tingling, but she kept her face neutral, focused on the game and the cards in her hand. In a quick flashback, Marco remembered his first heist, the thrill of danger, and the intoxicating rush of getting away with it. Rico tightened his grip on his jacket, the weight of his pistol a cold reminder of the stakes they faced tonight. The dealers dealt the cards, and the players leaned in, oblivious to the storm about to unfold around them. Leo hacked into the club's security feed, disabling the alarms and making a silent path for the team's escape. Marco glanced at Clara again, wondering if her poker skills hid a past as dark and twisted as his own. Another player at the table, a wiry man with a calculating gaze, eyed Marco suspiciously, sensing a change in the atmosphere. Benny positioned himself near the club's entrance, ready to block anyone who tried to leave before the heist was over. As the cards were dealt, Clara's mind drifted to memories of past games, each filled with danger and survival. Rico eyed the door nervously, aware of the ticking clock and the risky timeline Marco had set for the operation. Marco's eyes hardened as he took in the wealth on the table, his years in the underworld leading to this very moment. Clara kept her hand steady, watching the other players, her instincts whispering that something was amiss tonight. Marco's flashback continued, revealing how he'd built a life on deception, each heist a step toward his eventual escape. The wiry man leaned toward Clara, whispering a vague warning, his suspicions about the strangers growing by the minute. Leo's voice crackled in Marco's earpiece, alerting him to a group of guards on their way back to the poker room. Marco gave a subtle nod to Benny, signaling him to divert the guards before they could reach the players. Clara's mind raced, recalling a similar game where a split-second decision had saved her life and cost another theirs. Marco's hand tightened around the small weapon in his pocket, the weight of his plans pressing heavy on his conscience. Rico checked his watch, knowing the precise moment they needed to act if they were to make it out with the cash. Leo, still at his post, glanced nervously at the club's security cameras, his fingers dancing over the controls. Clara noticed Marco's intense gaze and felt a pang of recognition, sensing his intentions even before he made a move. Marco's final flashback showed the toll his life of crime had taken, from lost friends to broken dreams he could never repair. The wiry man suddenly spoke up, hinting at his suspicions, but Marco silenced him with a cold, steely glare. Clara clutched her cards tighter, aware that tonight's game held risks beyond any hand she'd played before. Benny intercepted the guards, leading them away with a believable story, clearing the way for the heist to continue. Marco's fingers twitched, signaling to his team that it was time to make their move and execute the final plan. Rico stepped closer to the exit, glancing back to ensure no one was watching as he prepared for their getaway. Leo whispered instructions through the earpiece, guiding each member with precision as the heist unfolded. Clara held her breath as Marco stood, his eyes sweeping over the players, his intentions now unmistakably clear. The wiry man's face twisted with anger, but he stayed silent, watching as Marco and his team began their heist. Marco reached for the stack of chips on the table, claiming them as his own, knowing this was the turning point. Clara's hand hovered near her bag, ready to defend herself as she saw the heist unraveling before her eyes. Rico glanced at the door, preparing to make a break for it the second Marco gave the final signal. The wiry man suddenly lunged forward, his cover blown as he revealed himself as an undercover cop. Chaos erupted as the cop's shout alerted everyone, and the poker room turned into a battlefield of clashing motives. Benny swung at the cop, trying to protect Marco, but the officer dodged, determined to put an end to the crime. Clara ducked as shots rang out, her mind racing as she weighed her options, survival instinct kicking in. Marco and the cop exchanged a flurry of punches, each one landing with the force of years of pent-up anger. Leo panicked as alarms blared, his careful security work unraveling, their clean escape now impossible. Rico abandoned his post, realizing the heist was doomed, his plans for a quick getaway shattered. Clara found herself face to face with Marco, his desperation clear as he clutched his wounded arm. Marco tried to convince Clara to join him, promising wealth, but she saw the futility in his eyes. The undercover cop leveled his gun at Marco, giving him a final chance to surrender, but Marco refused. Benny made a last-ditch effort to defend Marco, but the cop's training proved superior, and Benny went down. Marco, cornered and wounded, realized that his dream of one last big score had led only to betrayal and ruin. Clara slipped away amid the chaos, her heart pounding as she left the mob life behind, vowing never to return. The cop lowered his gun as Marco collapsed, his last heist ending not with wealth but with tragic finality. The luxurious poker room lay in shambles, a testament to the deadly consequences of greed and betrayal. Marco's team scattered, each haunted by the heist's failure, a brutal reminder of trust's fragile, deadly nature.